Comics, people out of thousands of people. In a world called Tianzhang continent, where everyone cultivates immortals, every family has immortals. Our main character's name is Dike Feng. Only play 2 Tien game for 90 hours continuously. But to be transported to this world of cultivating immortals. Fortunately, like other immortal cultivators, he received a system when he first traveled through time. It claims to be the great savior that every time traveler wishes for, the Golden Hand system. Handsome big guy president. The martial god system is unparalleled. All skills can be compared to the gods. Dike Feng dreams of being able to practice magic, destroy the sect in the mountains, collect 10 harems, and play until he is paralyzed. Next, the system gave Dike Feng a 600 square meter dojo as a newbie gift. Although this martial arts hall is a bit dilapidated, Dike Feng believes that his path to cultivating immortality can now begin. It's just that the system and Dike Feng have a slightly different frequency. It doesn't understand what Dike Feng is talking about cultivating immortals. If you want to cultivate immortality, you need to have spiritual roots. As for leprosy, it's full. The system uses the excuse that the wife gave birth to a baby and runs straight, leaving Dike Feng frozen for a long time, wondering if he had been tricked or not. After getting tested, only then did he learn that his spiritual roots were as desolate as his crush at the end of the world. In this world, no matter how useless, a person must have some spiritual roots. But Dike Feng became the first person in this world without spiritual roots. Cultivating immortals in this life is considered unlucky for you. For 5 years, Dike Feng went everywhere to check the spiritual roots of Zhongbin City. But the result is only one sentence: waste without spiritual roots. The dream of fighting monsters and rising to the next level to dominate the world and standing at the top of the world has come to an end. Leprosy can only live the life of a salty fish. So Dike Feng decided to open a bookstall to trick his disciples. While he was lying there blaming God for pitying himself, a cute girl came. I saw Dike Feng selling books that I had never seen before, so I was very interested. Realizing that the other person is a monk with money, Dike Feng's style changes 180 degrees, becoming a person free from worldly dust. But unfortunately, in the eyes of his kind, big and beautiful sister, he is just a mortal, nothing more, nothing less. Seeing that the two of them were planning to go to Dike Feng, they used all their tricks to deceive, praising the girl as a pure-blooded, exceptionally gifted girl with a talent for practicing martial arts that was hard to come across in thousands of years. The little girl was so convinced that she decided to buy a copy of Master Ma's book Mixed Elements, Forms of Meaning, Light Dian Tien. The sister saw Dike Feng's trick and forced her to leave. But the girl insisted. No matter what the mountain mon is in danger of, no matter what her noble status as a monk is, she is still determined to buy it. Not until she turns into a level 3 supergiant. Then my sister gave in and bought me a book. But when she got the book, she only paid a few coins, which made Dike Feng very bitter and wanted to beat her until her butt bloomed. Leaving the city, the little girl boasted to her sister that the book she had just bought had positions she had never seen before. Thinking that this was an obscene cultural product, the sister decided to examine it for a while. Unexpectedly, as soon as I opened the book, my eyes widened. The book gave her the feeling of 1,000 years of loneliness. It's like being crowded in a sea of people on a holiday. There was something that wanted to fill the void in her body, making her realize that it was pure martial intention. Please don't think wrongly, a breakthrough feeling runs through my sister's body. I can't explain how stimulating that feeling is. Everyone can see pictures to let their imagination run wild. No matter how long she practiced without results, just looking at a page of mortal paper made her break through as a martial artist in the blink of an eye. Even her junior sister broke through several levels in a row, truly a Canadian magician. Sister thought of a possibility. Dike Feng was the legendary Chow Chow. So my sister wanted to go back and report this matter to her master. Lan Tuet's master is Luke Tan's son, head of Tan Sun Sect, martial spirit realm. He is currently chasing an injured monster, but just as he was about to deliver the finishing blow, the monster was slashed to death by another person. There was also a domineering voice resounding, "Green Mountain, I killed the demon beast, thank you for your efforts, so that I can get one step ahead of you without any effort." The brazen and shameless robber still spoke as if it were obvious, causing Luke Tan's son to shout angrily. Our Tan Sun sect besieged and killed this monster for several months. The deaths were miserable. You came to pick up the city again. Do you talk about martial virtue? The person just now is Nin Huin Mart, the founder of the Xian martial sect, who has broken through the realm of martial king. He continued to taunt, "Come and do whatever you want, I don't mind sending you off for a while," before officially saying goodbye. "Where's the martial arts?" Realizing the opponent's state, his face was as green as a frog's ass. He knew he was about to explode. Nin Huinvu pointed his finger straight at Luke Ton's son and said, "If you can defeat me in the deathmatch 3 days later, I will spare your sect a way to live. But unfortunately the Ton Sun sect will eventually be banned. Our martial arts sect kills all and swallows all. In front of people with higher strength than us, Luke Ton Mountain can only grit our teeth and endure." The danger Ton Sun Mon encountered was transmitted throughout the city of Binjung. The girl telling the story also felt a sense of danger. The news of the monks' conflict had failed to interest the idle people in front of her. Perhaps she was about to become unemployed. Indeed, the audience was extremely bored. Everyone felt that this case was nothing worth looking forward to. In contrast to the calmness in Binjung City, Ton Sun Mon is currently as hot as fire burning in the ass. The disciples felt that there were only a few days left for the duel, so what was the use of just practicing a few moves now? A disciple angrily scolded, "Shut up, I've been following my master for more than 30 years. He has always been indomitable and unwavering when faced with danger, never backing down. The more he faces hardship, the more violent his will becomes, like iron and steel." Hearing that, Luke Ton's son couldn't help but cry loudly. How could he defeat Nin Huinmart now? He had been in the martial spirit realm for many years and had never successfully broken through. While he still didn't know what to do, the female disciple's voice rang out. Disciple Lan Tuet had something important to ask of the master. Luke Ton's son immediately adjusted his mood and returned to being a cold, high-ranking sect leader. After listening to the disciple's presentation of Luke Ton Mountain, I couldn't believe it. What a breakthrough from reading the book. What a peerless master. Being a disciple of Ton Sun's sect, not focusing on cultivating and breaking through, and being deceived by the people in the mountains, he is really stupid as a bitch. Facing Luke Ton Sun's anger, Lan Tuet still calmly advised. He also said that if it doesn't work, you can punish him however you want. Luke Ton's son had to open the book to try his luck. Who would have thought that as soon as he opened the book, a powerful force slapped him in the face. In front of him suddenly appeared the sunset on the steppe. Luke Ton's son realized he was in his own world of consciousness. During this time, instead of saying that he was cultivating in seclusion, it would be better to say that Luke Ton's son was running away from pressure to fight against the Xian martial sect. Well, when he became the sect master, no one had beaten him for many years. But now Luke Ton's son felt like someone was repeatedly whipping him with a whip. A pillar of light pierced the roof and flew straight into the sky, scaring the Qingshan disciples to death. Dike Feng was lying down eating noodles. Feeling so jealous, the noodles in his hand were no longer delicious. After a moment of surprise, Luke Ton's son realized that he had broken through to the realm of martial arts kings. The old man crowed confidently, "Let's change the wind and destroy the mysterious martial sect." He felt that the person who could easily draw a book containing such great martial intention must have an unfathomable depth of cultivation, so he wanted his disciple to take him to visit him. Lan Tuet remembered what she had said to Dike Feng at that time. It could be said that it was both overbearing and arrogant, and it was possible that she had offended that great man. Now that we meet again, will the other person get angry and destroy her mountain gate? Dike Feng's face was now filled with murderous intent. The whole person emitted an extremely dangerous aura that could kill anyone at any time. In fact, he was just stewing tamarind to add meat to his hot pot. The techniques of mortals in this world were completely unusable. It was very difficult to trick a stupid monk into spending a gold coin to buy books. You can exchange a pound of beef for hot pot. However, when Dike Feng was extremely looking forward to his hot pot, there was a chase on the street that was no different from Too Fast and Too Dangerous Part 10. It was a stray dog that stole someone's meat. But what everyone doesn't know is that he is the wolf prince of the demon world, a realm equivalent to a martial spirit. Because he was harmed by his fellow clan, his spiritual energy was almost exhausted, so he fell into this situation. The puppy saw ahead that there was a mortal who dared to block its path. Even though its spiritual power was currently weak, killing a defenseless mortal was still as easy as eating porridge. But when the puppy takes action, I don't understand why the enemy discovered me and grabbed my head. I don't understand why the enemy discovered me and grabbed my head. The puppy felt that his spiritual energy seemed useless to the person in front of him. Yet this person still said it was a stupid dog. The puppy's pride soared. How could a mere mortal dare to insult it like that? It angrily unleashed all its strength, but the result was only to knock over the hot pot that the epidemic had been waiting for so long. It felt extremely terrified because its attack had no effect on this mortal in front of it. What did the other person do? His whole body trembled. Was he scared? Ridiculous, how could it be afraid of a mortal? Even when surrounded by 5 martial spirit realm monks, it was not afraid at all. But facing this evil mortal, he couldn't help but tremble. Dike Fong was now extremely angry and said to the puppy, "The lovely baby looks very delicious." The puppy was so scared that he fainted on the spot. The Luke Ton Sun group of people also flew over and saw everything. At this moment, there was another child holding his wound and walking down the street. It turned out that he did not have spiritual roots, so he was chased away by Ton Sun Mon. The child could not help but knelt down and cried extremely bitterly. He accepted the expectations of the people in the village and went to Ton Sun Mon to practice immortality, but he did not expect that he could not even enter the door. Suddenly a concerned voice rang out, "That girl of yours is trying to steal my meat. If you want to eat, you have to pay. Even though my grilled meat is famous everywhere, even if you call me father, I can't share it with you." The child angrily rushed to the place where the room was. "Don't talk nonsense, even if I starve to death, I won't eat your meat. I say it, but the smell of grilled meat wafts into my nose and I can't stand it." The child threw away shamelessly and rushed to grab the grilled meat in Dike Fong's hand and ate it greedily. While eating, he did not forget to say, "I told you I won't eat your food, I will only eat what I stole." The next sentence is admin, say it yourself. Dike Fong was just a little surprised, then regained his composure and asked, "Was your girl kicked out by Ton Sun Mon?" Only then did Trung Ton regain his composure. Was she acting so clearly? Besides, she was a boy. Dike Fong continued to grill meat. "Such a beautiful hairstyle. Don't become an idol, just go to become an immortal. This country has institutional problems." That's what he said, but actually because of Dike Fong, he couldn't cultivate immortality, so he sympathized. He threw Trung Ton a key and said, "You have nowhere to go. I just found out that we lack a maid. This is the key to the dojo." After speaking, Dike Fong immediately ran to buy things and told Trung Ton to come back and look after the martial arts hall. Trung Ton was extremely bewildered. He had not yet agreed to be an errand boy for the other party. Why doesn't this person listen to what others say? But being able to find a job in Binjong City is good. Your parents at home will also have some peace of mind. Half an hour later, Luke Ton Sun and Lon Tuet arrived at the martial arts hall. The 2 young men secretly shouted at the door but found no one. What caught their eyes was an elegant garden with quaint statues. Luke Ton Sun discovered that the paintings on the wall contained extremely strong martial intent. A voice suddenly rang in his head. "I'll take you guys to fight back. People stabbed you. Don't hit me anymore. My locker is moving." Although Luke Qingshan did not understand, he could still deeply feel that this was definitely a magical tactic. These martial intentions seemed to be teaching him what sectarian disputes were. Who was strong and who was evil? Weakness is nothing more than smoke and clouds passing by. Luke Ton Sun clasped his hands together to attain enlightenment and became a Buddha, causing Lon Tuet next to him to almost lose his eyes. Trung Ton then walked over with a feather duster and asked if the 2 were guests or something. Luke Ton Sun smiled shyly and introduced them as people of Ton Sun Mon. As soon as he heard the 3 words Ton Sun Mon, Trung Ton was immediately startled. Could it be just because of sneaking into the mountain gate that Ton Sun Mon's people came all the way here to take him back? Trung Ton knelt down in fear and begged them to spare his life. He's so skinny that it's not enough for him to feed the dog. Luke Ton Sun and Lon Tuet didn't understand what was going on and wanted to reach out to help Trung Ton. But Luke Ton Sun suddenly felt something was wrong, quickly stopped Lon Tuet and whispered, "Lon Tuet, Don't be rude, senior is also someone you can support. I once heard that Buddha also has a Western god who will use his despised human status to test his followers. That being said, could it be that this girl in front of her was sent by that senior to check on them? What she holds is a chicken feather broom. This object has the effect of sweeping dust. Sweeping away dust means sweeping away impurities. Only by eliminating impurities can one achieve righteous results. So this is definitely the first challenge that the master wants them to overcome. Today we must let the master know their sincerity. Trung Tan doesn't understand what the hell he's deducing. Untainted with all the dust, eliminating impurities. Some people were holding buckets, others were holding brooms, rushing to clean as if they were going to fight the enemy. Trung Tan couldn't understand why these two Tan Sun monks didn't play their cards as usual. At nightfall at the dojo's pavilion, after knowing that the other person had come to pay for the books, he forgave them and invited the two of them to stay for dinner. Then he asked Trung Tan to go make dog meat hot pot. Although I can't see through Yifeng's cultivation level, I rely on the opponent's sword technique. Looking at the cooking ingredients, it was a rare sky-devouring demon wolf in the demon race. Luke Tan Sun could roughly guess that the other party was not ordinary. Lan Tuet was worried what would happen if they ate that dog and the demon clan came to take revenge on them. Could it be that he spent his whole life avoiding the enemy's pursuit? Luke Qingshan whispered, I'm afraid the people who dare to do this are not only in the martial emperor realm. One must know that in the chaos of the gods and demons that year, the demon wolf clan used the strength of one clan to prolong the attack of 30,000 Buddhas to give the defeated demon clan a space to survive. Faced with the risk of becoming a dog hot pot, the puppy immediately burst out with all its strength, just to kneel down and ask the translation to give him a way to live. Seeing the puppy obediently submit to Daik Fong, Luke Tan Sun could only open his mouth in surprise. At the last moment, he was able to spare the demon wolf's life. How kind of heart this nobleman had. Luke Tan Sun felt that borrowing a divine weapon from Daik Fong should not be a problem. This knife just now gently shocked the demon wolf's realm, equivalent to a peak martial spirit. Lan Viet suddenly offered to borrow a machete to help the sect escape the situation of destruction. Daik Fong hasn't had time to answer yet. Then Luke Tan Sun pressed the snow orchid's head to the ground. Stupid, you showed your greed like that. If you reveal your greed like that, what if your senior is not happy? Daik Fong in their eyes at this time was like a fierce god coming. But the reality is like this. He gave the knife to the two people and said, borrowing is not worth anything. Seeing them so surprised, Daik Fong added, if I take this kind of knife, I can make a few of them in a day. Luke Tan Sun's trembling hands held the knife. Looks like heaven won't destroy our Qingshan Mon. Daik Fong thought to himself, how pitiful he is to be so poor that he can't even buy a knife. Nin Huinmart is dead for sure. At this time in Huinvo Sect, the master's retreat has ended and everyone quickly prepares food. Huin Martial Patriarch Nin Huinmart, there's no need to quickly bring the Qing Mountain Sect's executioner here. I want to see him. Everyone else retreat. A moment later, in the secret room of the Xian Martial Sect, Yu Jia, an admired and longtime senior of the Xian martial arts, greeted him. Stop writing and have nothing to say. Today, this subordinate came here to talk about what happened that you were worried about before. Not long ago, Tan Sun's ancestor entered the realm of martial arts kings. Even though he heard the bad news, Nin Huinvo still smiled and said, how could he expect that I had already entered the realm of martial arts kings for more than 30 years? To me, he was just a toddler. If it was just this little matter, you wouldn't come here all night, would you? Let's get to the point. Today, Tan Sun Laoni quickly returned from outside to summon all his disciples to the square. None, it's already so late and yet you're still calling us to gather. What's wrong with you, master? I don't know. I just said it was testing Tan Sun Mon's new magic weapon. Tan Sun Mon's elder Chu Van replied loudly, I don't want to pay attention but this shirt just caught my eye and I don't know where to buy it. It's beautiful. Position. The god stone passed down by Qingshan Sect's ancestors was extremely hard. Even if it was hit by a divine weapon, it would only leave scratches. The disciples who were chatting loudly saw Zhou Yun coming and quickly greeted them. At this time, Luke Tan Sun is squeezing his butt muscles and flexing his ass muscles, holding an old knife in his hand, standing in front of the jewel. Chu Van shouted angrily, what could he do with a chopping knife? Some of the disciples were surprised, some sighed. The master was under too much pressure because he was sick and took the wrong medicine. Luke Ton's son was extremely angry. Those damn people dared to speak sarcastically right in front of him, a group of white-eyed wolves. But I don't know the power of this knife, so I can only give it a light touch. When Luke Ton's son lightly touched the knife to the godstone, the rock looked like it had been bombed. It exploded as if it had never been exploded before, and the surrounding architecture was also damaged a lot. Ton Sun Mon is like experiencing a meteorite impact. The explosion's soil, rocks and trees were thrown all the way to Binjiang City. The middle spirit held the puppy in his arms and smiled. Happy dog, look at the majestic meteor shower. Angry puppy barking, woof, meteor shower, your mother's brain is given to you. This kind of pressure and strong martial intent is absolutely a peerless divine weapon. Since when did these monks have it? Dike Fong in the room also widened his eyes in surprise. It's rare to see a shooting star. Dike Fong quickly clasped his hands together to pray. He wished that even if he sat idle, he would have countless harems, million-dollar wealth, clothes to raise his hands, food to open his mouth, and thousands of words of prayer. The Qingshan Sect disciples still haven't recovered. What the hell is this? The majestic martial arts master Ton Sun Mon has been saved. Just now, Luke Ton's son only tried it a bit, not yet used the power of the knife, yet it already has such power. Luke Ton's son feels it is truly magical. But until it's time for help, he doesn't want to take it out and use it. After all, this knife is not something that Luke Ton's son can control. I guess the person who can create this knife must be of a martial arts level or higher. After thinking carefully, Luke Ton's son turned back, raised the knife and told the disciples that the day after tomorrow we will fight to the death with Huin martial arts. Nin Huinvu knows that with Luke Ton's son's talent, it is impossible to break through so quickly. There is a possibility that there is someone behind to help. Seeing Nin Huinvo said nothing, Nuoi suggested that they should do something. Nin Huinvo threw Du Qiet an antidote pill, said that this was his reward for reporting the news. If everything succeeds, he will return freedom to the opponent. When going outside, Nin Huinvo said to a girl standing outside the door, Lin Ni, we're here to look for seeds. Xian Martial Sect, female disciple, spirit demon child. She made a very seductive pose. I can't wait any longer, master. Then in the sword race, senior brother, when the master was still alive, told us that we absolutely cannot release the sword soul in this sword race. Don't say much more, open it for me. This is what I said, don't regret it. But before I could do anything, the seal on the door couldn't stand it and wanted to break. Countless unjust souls flew out. Wherever it flies, the plants and trees wither and the animals are devoured. With the power brought by the sword, Nin Huinvo is confident that he can kill Ton Sun Mon. Even if the opponent has a master backing them, they can also make the opponent irreversible. Due to a war between two sects, Binjiang City is now completely out of medicine. There were only 4 hours left until the final battle, and they didn't know what to do. Fortunately, all the people in the city had fled, otherwise the echoes of the battle would have been enough to tear them to pieces. But what they didn't know was that the people of Binjiang City were not hiding, but were going to see what happened. Not only that, Dike Fong also works as a tour guide and grocer. Although he didn't know who was fighting, there were quite a few people who wanted to take a peek. This was truly a once-in-a-lifetime business opportunity. Moreover, from this position, he could rent them binoculars to watch the battle, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. At this time, down below was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Luke Ton's son, I didn't expect that you still had the courage to come to the meeting place. Who will die and who will live today is unknown. The two quickly rushed at each other, before Luke Ton's son was punched by Nin Huinvo. The disciples wanted to run to support their sect leader. Then Luke Ton's son stood up and said no need. He didn't expect that the realm between the two of them would be so far apart. If he hadn't broken through early, he probably wouldn't have been able to survive half a round right now. Knowing what Luke Ton's son was thinking, Nin Huinvo told the opponent to take out his magic weapon. Even his killing blow was known to the enemy. Luke Ton's son did not know what to do. But Nin Huinvo didn't give him a chance to think and immediately took out his soul-devouring sword. With just 10 years of life lost, the soul-devouring sword can devour the spiritual energy of any weapon. The weapon under the holy item in front of it was just like a vegetable knife. What they didn't expect was that the other person actually used a knife to chop vegetables. The Shin martial sect group had a laugh. The Qingshan old ancestor was at the end of his rope, using a vegetable knife to fight against the soul-devouring sword. Luke Ton-sun was forced back to the cliff by Ning Huinvo, losing 9 points in terms of momentum. At this time, Luke Ton-sun is no longer afraid of losing. What he is afraid of is that if this knife is discarded by the soul-devouring sword, how will he face Master Yi? Suddenly, Dike Feng's voice rang in his ears. Keep going. How can you admit defeat so easily? Actually, Dike Feng didn't have any encouragement, just that if they fought that fast, how could his binoculars continue to be rented? How much happiness the next life will have depends on this battle of those below. It's just that Luke Ton-sun doesn't understand Dike Feng's thoughts. In his eyes, he only saw the noble Master Dike from above leading countless people to cheer for him. Moreover, just now the other party had sternly urged him. What a noble encouragement this was. Luke Ton-sun felt ashamed in his heart. Just now he had shown cowardice in front of the enemy, and almost insulted the honor of this knife. The atmosphere of Luke Ton-sun changed 180 degrees. Nin Huinvo did not realize it, still rushing to slash towards Luke Ton-sun. When everyone saw that Luke Ton Mountain was about to be swallowed by countless resentful souls, then a deadly stream shot out from the knife in his hand. The aura that destroyed heaven and earth flew everywhere, and Nin Huin Martial's arm was cut off in one fell swoop. To the surprise of the disciples of the Xian martial sect, the knife's power flow still did not stop. It continued to slash a long line on the ground. The people of the mysterious martial sect wanted to rush up to protect their master. As for the Ton Sun Mon group, they wanted to take advantage of this moment to kill the Huin martial sect and return to their lair. Luke Ton-sun stopped and said, "Don't chase away the enemy." But Lan Tuet believes that this is the best opportunity to destroy the Xian martial sect. Luke Ton-sun told her that Master Dike was still silently observing. If we continue to fight, the master may be unhappy. Luke Ton-sun believes that Master Dike despises fame and fortune, and it is impossible to lend divine weapons just by relying on the fate of a one-time meeting. According to his guess, what the nobleman needs is not to destroy any side. Lan Tuet immediately understood that what the seniors needed was balance. He wanted a balance between both sides to ensure peace for the people of Binjiang. After hearing the explanation, the Qingshan sect disciples immediately saw the light of the righteous path shining everywhere. Noble people have such bodhisattva hearts and dispositions. They spend their whole lives trying to understand it but still don't understand it. Compared to him, they are just shallow ants. But they thought wrong. Dike Feng was very disappointed when the people below stopped fighting. No matter how Dike Feng explained, the people returned the goods and ran away. In just a moment, the family, which was not rich at all, became even poorer. On the way home, Dike Feng suddenly met someone he knew. Is your childhood friend Peng? Contrary to the warmth of the maple epidemic, Bonan showed cold indifference. She pushed Dike Feng's hand away, saying that she came here to find a noble person. Bonan said she joined Ton Sun Mon with the help of a senior brother. With her qualifications, wanting to enter Qingshan Gate is impossible. That was her childhood dream. Because of this dream, she agreed with that senior brother that she would not be with another man in the future. Having finished speaking, not giving Dike Feng a chance to hold on, Bonan turned around and left very quickly. When he returned to meet that senior brother, Bonan's attitude changed 180 degrees. This guy was a bit angry when he saw that she had just been involved with another man. Bonan hastily explained that the other party was just a worthless dojo owner. All day I only know how to dream, writing a few martial arts secret manuals that are nothing, not comparable to my senior brother. If she hadn't met him by chance, she wouldn't have wanted to pay attention to him. All day I only know how to dream, writing a few martial arts secret manuals that are nothing, not comparable to my senior brother. If she hadn't met him by chance, she wouldn't have wanted to pay attention to him. Although this guy is a bit disgusted with her, because Bangon also has some beauty, he only wants to take advantage of her. But what he cares most about right now is still finding that damned noble man. If there was no opponent, Nin Huinmart would not have lost so easily. If he doesn't do something, when the Xuanwu sect recovers, it will definitely be angry with him. A thought suddenly flashed in Vu Kiet's head. Lac Lan Tuet also bought secret books from a martial arts school in Binjiang City to make Luke Ton's son breakthrough, perhaps. Vu Kiet pretended to care and asked about Dike Fong. Bon An was afraid that he would be angry, so he lied that Fong was just a mortal. Hearing that, Vu Kiet's heart blossomed and he ran away. If the opponent is truly a master, he just needs to sit back and watch the opponent and the Shen martial sect fight to the point of both defeat and injury. On the contrary, if the opponent is just an ordinary person, he can take it out and take revenge on the Shen martial sect. After all, he's just a mortal, so don't blame him for being cruel. This goat sacrificed his life, and the other side had to do it even if he didn't want to. Vu Kiet laughed loudly. He felt that God was also helping him. A loud shout echoed throughout the Shen martial sect. Nin Huin Vu was extremely angry. He didn't expect that even before he went looking, this martial artist would dare to offer himself to the door. Vu Vo Kiet quickly explained that he had found a nobleman to help Luke Ton's son in Binjiang City. This person even opened a martial arts studio there. Although other information has not yet been investigated, just look for it and you will definitely find it. Nin Huinvo didn't believe it at all. What a goddamn expert. There was a noble person in Jiangbin that he didn't know. He wanted to see how this mortal who didn't know whether to live or die would help Luke Ton's son. Lin Yuni asked to go investigate, but Nin Huinvo had other arrangements for her. But he already had other candidates for this matter. After saying that, he called out loudly, unearthly. Even though it normally limits the opponent, now is the time to use people. Nin Huinvo asked the other person what to do. This guy just smiled and said to leave it to him. This time at Dike Fong's martial arts hall, Chung Tan was extremely worried and stood at the door. His boss had not left the room for 3 days. It seemed that the girl had hurt his boss a lot. When entering the common room, the room was extremely messy. Chung Tan this time, he was sure that the boss was truly heartbroken. A passionate love met such an end, it truly made people unable to bear it. He felt like he couldn't continue to let the wind deteriorate like that anymore. Came over and said he wanted to help. Before he could finish speaking, he saw Dike Fong sitting and grilling meat, not looking like he was heartbroken at all. But Chung Tan feels that such a judgment is still premature. Who knows, maybe the boss is trying to appear strong. It's just a pity that he's not a girl and can't help the boss solve his love problems. Chung Tan wanted to ask about his broken love, but Dike Fong said Bang On was just his childhood friend. Women will only affect the speed of making money, conveniently, and also the speed of grilling meat. Hearing this unreasonable but very convincing answer, I didn't know what to say anymore. Dike Fong immediately told Chung Tan to quickly go sell books. Next month he wanted to change carriages. They felt a sudden coldness in their hearts. Chung Tan looked at the pile of books and felt very strange. What about men from 3 countries? A bunch of women and 1 man. A story about 3 women and 105 men. A story about 4 loves and 1 man. Can these things really be sold? Because he was so busy thinking, Chung didn't pay attention and tripped over the broken doorstep. Outside Binjiang City, a cry for help rang out, but no one responded. The soulless man who was released is now slaughtering innocent people, and the victim was turned into a skeleton. I don't know how many people he killed, but human bones piled up in a large pile. An old voice rang out, advising Inferno not to go towards Binjiang Citadel anymore. A white-haired old man appeared, saying that he was going to Binjiang City to visit an old friend, and did not allow the other person to do anything wrong. Barefoot got angry and scolded him. What the hell did he have to do with it? Before he could finish his sentence, the old man waved a giant hand towards him. Wu Qin did not expect that the other party would have a martial arts king level or higher. When the other hand hit him, he turned into a cloud of black gas and ran away. The old man did not expect that a martial spirit cultivating evil techniques could escape under his hands. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice. What the other party just pulled out turned out to be a meteorite. Such a treasure falling into the hands of evildoers, the small city of Zhongbin is about to fall into trouble. Barefoot ran into the city of Binjiang. Luckily there was a meteorite, otherwise he would have died. The people of the other martial arts schools were killed by him, leaving only this last family. He was a bit disappointed when the mission had absolutely no difficulty. What a noble man, this tattered martial arts hall. he also wanted to learn about the opponent's strength. The meteorite town is an evil object left behind by the founder of the mysterious martial sect who founded the mountain. Even when faced with attacks from high realms, evil can turn to good. Demon Lin Ni wanted to ask to help Vo Tran, but Nin Win Vo felt that it was not necessary. The other side had a meteorite in their hand. Even if there was an accident, they could still protect his life. They just need to sit still and wait for news from the world. Vo Tran had now arrived at the door of Dike Fong's martial arts hall. The dojo was in tatters and didn't even have a name, so he didn't bother to look at it. Innocent snaps his fingers. Attack the dojo's signboard. After that, he didn't even look at me and went straight inside. While thinking about where to start sabotaging next, unexpectedly, the dojo's signboard suddenly emitted a terrifying stream of power. Innocent only felt countless divine weapons aimed at him, hastily took out the meteorite and fled. But this time he did not expect that he could not run. Before I died, I didn't even understand why. The meteorite town turned into a lifeless rock and fell down. The dojo door returned to its normal state as if nothing had happened. When Dike Fong saw it, he didn't know who dropped such a beautiful stone. It was clever and fit the broken part of the door, so he stuffed it in. Two people are playing chess together. One hand began to tremble, not knowing how to fight. It turned out that the old man was playing chess with Dike Fong. He said that when he first started, he felt that his level was on par with his opponent. But right now it's a bit hard to see through. Dike Fong silently muttered, of course he couldn't see through it, because he taught the other person this trick. But what the old man wanted to say was not what Dike Fong thought. He came here to play chess many times, but never saw through the opponent's true cultivation level. Has the ability to practice a type of practice that makes people unable to see through their own cultivation level. But if there were such a person, it would be impossible for him to be an unknown pawn in the cultivation world. Is it possible that Dike Fong is stronger than him? Still busy thinking, the old man did not know when Dike Fong had shown his fate. While frustrated, he saw his foot stepping on a meteorite town. The evildoer from earlier was dealt with on the spot by Dike Fong. Even used such precious treasures to block the doorstep. It's like I'm saying I can dig this out at will, but what about you? The old man felt that with Dike Fong's cultivation base, he also knew that the meteorite town was of extraordinary value, but still let the treasure be trampled like this. Regardless of whether it's a scheme or a game of chess, this person is even more powerful than he imagined. Plus this suggestion from the opponent. This is another class comparison. No wonder the other side can be so confident. But it seems like the other side also underestimated him too much. The old man took out his rake and showed it to the room. He said his back was itchy, so he asked Dike Fong to use a holy trident to scratch it for him. Seeing Dike Fong's eyes wide open, he was very happy. Perhaps Dike Fong has already surrendered, because to get this treasure, he not only brought the family to bankruptcy, but even almost lost half of his old life to get it. Who would have thought that Dike Fong would say that this toy was all rusted and it would be better to throw it away quickly? To do some farm work is definitely not convenient. It turned out that every time this old man came to play chess, he intentionally lost to him. It turns out it was to ask the translation service to help him repair farming tools. When the old man heard that, his mouth opened wide and his eyes widened. This guy dared to disrespect the sacred weapon that he was proud of like that. Dike Fong told the old man not to get excited. Farming is not easy, and people need to eat, so it's strange that it's not urgent for the rake to have problems. Then move the organ and rake inside. The old man was so angry that his eyes turned red. Since the other side has so despised his 7 slag Saint 3, then he has to see if the other side can come up with anything that can compare to his 7 slag Saint 3. Dike Fong was fixing his trident when Chung Tan ran to inform him that the old man who borrowed the knife to chop vegetables wanted to meet him to repay the favor. Dike Fong didn't understand what kind of gift Luke Tan's son came to return, but he still told them to go inside and wait for him to finish forging this agricultural tool before coming. Big breasts feel that this shabby place cannot have any noble people. Was immediately scolded by Luke Tan's son. She has also seen the power of a vegetable knife. If it makes Master E unhappy, the consequences are hard to imagine. While feeling dissatisfied, Big Chest stepped on something hard. Looking down and seeing that it was the meteorite town treasure of the Xianvu sect, I was scared and my ass was sweating. She didn't understand why the meteorite town was stuffed here as a doorstep. I was about to call Luke Ton's son to come over and take a look, but he went inside. Before she could speak, Luke Ton's son told her to look ahead. Big breasts are still wondering what to look at. Then in front there was a dragon flying up from the dojo. To be exact, it flies up from the hammer blows of the wind. The two of you reassure each other that it's just a small matter, don't panic. But the more I talk, the more I tremble. Big breasts feel dizzy. Moreover, she also recognized that the object in Dyke Fong's hand was the holy ba, the magical weapon to eliminate demons and destroy demons in thin kin that Nine Tian Xian knew used in legend. Luke Ton's son confirmed that this is definitely the real price of 7 slag saints. There was also someone sitting there who also exuded martial intent similar to that of the Holy Father. Surely this Holy Father belonged to him. From ancient times until now, people who could use the holy level realm were at least martial emperors or higher. Why did such a character appear here? The appearance of the person in front of him resembled the maniac who massacred the immortals in the 6 towns that year. But the other person has been missing for 30 years, so it shouldn't be such a coincidence. Suddenly the old man spoke up and asked about them, causing the two of them to fear falling down. Come to see me, brother, come here and have a cup of tea. Her breasts were unexpectedly big, but Luke Ton's son immediately agreed. Big Tits felt that they should quickly deliver the goods and gifts to the nobles and give them the quails as soon as possible. But Luke Ton's son said it was probably too late. I only saw countless golden dragons flying out from Dyke Fong's forging room. At this time, Dyke Fong also hit the final hammer to complete the job. After exhaling a breath, he was extremely satisfied with the quality of the products he made. Yet it is possible to change a semi-sacred product into a supreme holy product. You must know that there is a holy weapon that can dominate a direction. In the end, which side is the god of the opponent? Why are you going in their direction? Big breasts were so scared that they were sweating, not knowing what to do. Luke Ton's son told her to calmly look at the old man just now, the same monk who saw the scene just now and still had his mind as calm as water, who knew this old man was so scared that he couldn't move. I feel how ridiculous I was before. Hearing Dyke Fong say half the price, the old man suddenly woke up. Even if the old man's holy treasure was reduced by 90%, he still wouldn't be able to carry it. Previously, this 7-slag holy ba tree was only slightly damaged and had already dissipated all of its accumulated savings, and only then could it be exchanged for half of his life. Now that it's a saint, I'm afraid he can't take it away. Looking at the other person's expression, Dyke Fong immediately guessed that he had no money. But in his mind, he didn't even have a single gold coin. It was so pitiful. If only he could help people in times of need, he would give the service to the old man. Knowing he didn't need to give money, the old man immediately knelt down and thanked Dyke Fong. Made Dyke Fong feel that the old man was too outrageous. But what happened next was even more terrifying. The old man's tears flowed down, saying that old Dyke Fong's kindness would be engraved in his heart. Perhaps the other party won't need him in his entire life. But he still swore an oath here, if there was a need for Dyke Fong, he would die and not refuse. Seeing the old man's extraordinary performance, the two Luke Ton's son people next to him couldn't believe that the other person was one of the 4 famous madmen who had been famous for a long time. Not stopping there, the old man also pointed his finger to the sky and swore. What kind of contract between heaven and earth swears with bones? If you betray, you will be destroyed by heaven and earth. Dyke Fong felt that this old man had Chinibu disease to the extreme. He couldn't bear to look at it anymore. This scene of the old man made Luke Ton's son extremely scared. He did not expect that in this life he would be able to see the heaven and earth contract established while he was still alive. The heaven and earth contract is a contract that can only be made by a person with a level above the martial emperor. With heaven and earth as witness, it is a kind of absolute contract. Once signed, it cannot be violated. To be able to make a powerhouse of this level submit, how terrifying must Mr. Yi's realm be? The old man wanted to take off his shirt and tell Dyke Fong that the contract had been established. No matter what the other party wanted him to do, he would do it. I didn't expect that Dyke Fong would ask me to do whatever I wanted. The old man saw Dyke Fong's expression and was extremely panicked. Hastily threw his legs behind his neck and ran. Before leaving, don't forget to swear. Mr. E, I know you have high morals and don't have any plans with me, but the contract has been signed. I will definitely repay this kindness, Mr. Yitch. The Green Mountains do not change. The rivers flow forever. We will meet again in the future. Looking at the old man like that, Dyke Fong just sighed softly. The two of them were extremely admired by Luke Ton Sun. Anyone who could ignore the heaven and earth contract of the demon-turned-devil could only do so by Master Yi. Dyke Fong then noticed the two people and asked them what they came here for. After talking for 180 minutes, Dyke Fong was given a very beautiful crystal, so he was very excited. Little did he know that it was a flame pearl, the mountain town treasure of Ton Sun Mon. Feng Shui feels very warm to the touch. In winter you can take it out to warm your bed. Even though I feel a bit lost, it's really good that Mr. E can satisfy me. Dyke Fong took out a newly written novel as a gift for the two of them. As soon as the big chest picked up the book, she felt a pure martial intent radiating out. She immediately said she was busy at home and hastily left. Before Dyke Fong could sense it, he pulled Luke Ton Mountain and ran away. Dyke Fong had some expectations. Perhaps they were his first batch of fans. At this moment, Chung Ton rented a super carriage to return. Seeing that, Lo Fong also had to sweat. They don't have that much money, can't they just say they can find a donkey cart at will? Chung Ton explained that if Dyke Fong wanted to go out, he would have to prepare the best carriage. The leprosy epidemic cannot be refuted, only seeing another poor person in the world. Dyke Fong consoled himself, saying that perhaps by the time he returned from this trip, he would have become a millionaire. Chung Ton wanted to ask Dyke Fong what he was doing, but Dyke Fong just said he would know when he came back. At Ton Sun Gate, Luke Ton Sun was extremely angry at this time. He originally wanted to refuse, not understanding why his junior sister could run away on her own like that. Moreover, the pure martial intention in the book is supreme. I'm afraid my junior sister won't be able to grasp it. Saying a lot of morals turns out to just want to steal the novel in Big Chest's hand. Although the Big Chest tried to fight back, it was no big deal. In the end, Luke Ton Sun also stole the novel. Even though his Big Chest was unwilling, he still acted as if nothing had happened. He just wondered what kind of identity Dyke Fong had. Translated the novel by the organ to the Binjiang Chamber of Commerce. Right now his economic situation is not as good as anything. If it turns out, 2 people and 1 dog can be said to not have to worry about clothes. At first, the other person was polite and enthusiastic. But when Dyke Fong mentioned continuing to print books, he immediately turned cold. He frankly said that his business association is a big business organization. There are still a lot of people down there that need to be fed. Can't do something like that without any response. When Dyke Fong heard that, he was stunned. The other person didn't stop. He told Dyke Fong to give some money and then go to another house to take a look. After all, Dyke Fong also saved him, so if he can help, he will definitely help. Dyke Fong is a 22nd century person who understands the hidden meaning of the other person's words. He immediately stood up and left without saying another word. Looking at Dyke Fong's leaving back, Mao Lam thought that even a few broken books could be considered treasures. His daughter Mao Yin came and saw him and casually asked who Dyke Fong was. Her father promised to introduce the author of Dream of the Red Chamber to her, but until now there has been no news. Could it be the person just now? Mao Lam was extremely upset. This girl didn't worry about studying all day and only remembered these nonsense things. He told his daughter Dyke Fong would no longer publish books here. When Mao Yun heard that, he couldn't understand it. It was obvious that Hong Lao Mong's sales volume was very good. Mao Lam tore up the novel as he spoke. Dyke Fong is just a mountain villager. Without his help, the other side wouldn't have a chance to come up with a book. Compared to the core of their merchant guild, this thing is just like a strand of buffalo hair. He told his daughter to worry and follow the senior of the Chamber of Commerce to learn how to do business properly. Mao Yen looked at the book being torn by his father and was extremely upset. What kind of business is business? She absolutely does not like business. Moreover, even if she had to study business, her reading novels would not affect her at all. Mao Lam did not listen to his daughter's words and asked the housekeeper to take his daughter down and lock her up. If you don't compare the books, you won't be released. As much hope as there is disappointment, Dyke Fong does not know how his next life will be. At this moment, Lan Tuet and her junior sister came to say hello. After talking for a while, I learned about Feng and the Binjiang Chamber of Commerce. When the junior sister was about to blurt out that her senior sister also liked the author of Dream of the Red Chamber very much, then suddenly he was held by his head, got a pinch on the butt. The monk was in so much pain that he turned into a giant. Promise not to bring up the story of sister liking Feng's novels. Feng saw that this girl had grown up again and was very scared. After the junior sister was stabilized, the snow orchid created a distraction and invited Feng to eat the fruit. She did not expect that the author of Dream of the Red Chamber was Feng. I didn't expect Feng's heart to be so delicate, with such softness and hardness in it. National affairs, children's love affairs, all can converge on the same person. Feng looked at the snow orchid blankly and was a bit confused. The junior sister's eyes shone as she looked at the two people who wanted to push the boat. She said there was a way to help translate the style into books, because her father is the president of the Baofeng Chamber of Commerce. Publishing a book is as easy as eating porridge for her. Lan Tuet was extremely satisfied when she heard this. This move of her junior sister was so wonderful. Mr. E clearly understood that he had escaped from life and entered the ultimate world, but he had never been willing to reveal his identity before encountering this difficulty. But she didn't expect that the next second her sister would make a request. Feng said that she had to kiss her sister before she could help him publish the book. The younger sister said that Feng only needs to kiss her senior sister once and she will help Feng publish the book. With the experience of being single since the womb, Feng heard it and immediately froze. After many years of being single, he finally had the opportunity to have intimate contact with his sister. Today, I will say goodbye to my first kiss and welcome the most brilliant moment of my life. Even though inside he wanted to die, on the outside Feng still showed extreme reluctance, sacrificing himself for the sake of art. He softly recited the Buddha's name. Form means emptiness and emptiness means form. I tried so hard that I got slapped in the face. When the epidemic was about to achieve its goal, the snow orchid retreated. A sentence from Feng made Lan Tuet realize many things. In the world of 3,000 great thousand, there are many ways of cultivation. Rumor has it that there is a type of dual cultivation method. Skin contact, yin and yang connect, supporting each other with each breath, can increase the realm many times over. He has a charitable heart, so he cried out of pity for people like her. She was still willing to use this technique to help her level up, but she still thought about so many random things. It was so damn worthy. The junior sister is so rude and doesn't know good or bad. She dares to make such an unreasonable request to you. You are a person of great intelligence. It is my honor to be able to help you. How dare you have other intentions? I hope you will forgive me. The junior sister did not agree with Lan Tuet's thoughts. It was clear that Mr. Dyke had already puckered his lips, so there was no sign of refusal. Feng also opened his eyes at this time, but the piece of food that came to his mouth fell away. He did not refuse anything, but Lan Tuet definitely did not cooperate. There was no need to say anything about Feng. She knew that she was not worthy. After that, he invited Feng to Baofeng's Chamber of Commerce to discuss the matter of publishing a book. Feng can only comfort himself. There is nothing so good in this world. As soon as the three of them arrived at the door of the Baofeng Chamber of Commerce, the younger sister's father led someone out to greet them. The president of the Chamber of Commerce, Baofeng, Don Hung. Father and son had a very close relationship, and as soon as they saw Father Don Bao, they jumped into his arms. It's just that the small body has been replaced by a Jimmer's body, making the old man somewhat unable to bear it. While Feng was being taken care of by Don Bao, Don Hung took the opportunity to ask about his background. Lan Tuet said she could not reveal much, but emphasized that the other person must remember that even if it was her master, he must respectfully call Mr. Feng. After hearing this, Don Hung's CPU froze for a while. Unexpectedly, these two people would bring a great Buddha to him, a figure that even the Qingshan ancestors would respect. So the dog with his face full of licking came running to ask questions. Seeing Don Hung coming to Feng, he quickly bowed, but Don Hung did not dare to accept, so he quickly stopped him. Then, he ordered the housekeeper to use all his strength from today on to help translate Feng into books. The butler explained that the focus of their Chamber of Commerce is the gold and silver jewelry and items of cultivators. Right now is the crucial moment to level the Chamber of Commerce to level 1. If you get distracted, it's easy to get hurt by the Binjong Chamber of Commerce. Defeat. But before he could finish speaking, Don Hung stepped on him and turned off the microphone. Hearing that, Dike Feng felt that there was no need to help him so enthusiastically. The business of the Merchant Guild was still more important. But Don Hung insisted that their Chamber of Commerce was preparing to develop a cultural market, and Dike Feng recently brought books over. This was truly a great opportunity that he couldn't even ask for. Since the other party had said so, Dike Feng did not feel comfortable saying more and just gently thanked him. Just a few days later, under the full force of the Bao Feng Chamber of Commerce, a book called Supreme Treasure and Purple River Fairy loudly appeared in Binjang City. Love, hatred, yin and yang in the book have attracted the attention of many people. The first released version quickly sold out. Since then, there has been a wave of passionate pursuit of books in the city, even developing to the sect of cultivating immortals outside the city. Snow Orchid sat dazedly on the rock, muttering softly, loving her for 10,000 years. In this world, only Mr. Translation can write. Big Breasts had just finished seclusion and ran over to ask about the situation, what was going on with the sect lately. But it was strangely quiet up and down. There were only a few people on the martial arts stage. Lon Tuet guessed that the possibility might be related to Mr. Dike's new novel. Right now, looking around the city of Binjang, almost everyone has read this book and is so fascinated that they have no intention of cultivating anymore. As soon as he heard Mr. Yi's book, Big Tits grabbed it and flew away. Hand over the affairs in the sect to Lon Tuet in charge. The hot book of the epidemic caused a trend in Binjang to dress up as characters in the story. Everyone gathered and said some super hot words, but I didn't know when my hero would step on the 5-colored clouds to marry me. If one day I meet my true love, I will definitely tell her those 3 words. If I have to add a term to this love, I hope it is 10,000 years. Vu Vo Kiet went to Binjang City to spy on Vo Tran's whereabouts. Seeing these scenes made him sweat. The junior brother who was accompanying him laughed until his jaw was wide. They searched for so long but never discovered the aura of Wu Chen. If they continued, they were afraid that it would only be a waste of time. The junior brother suggested going back to report. At this time, Binjang Chamber of Commerce is hot as fire. A castle can only have one level 1 merchant guild. Now the Bao Feng Chamber of Commerce relies on a book and this month's income is more than double theirs, and their reputation has increased accordingly. If you don't think of a way to suppress it, the title of first level merchant guild will definitely fall into the opponent's hands. Mao Lam is now regretting it almost to death, just because of a moment of carelessness. The Bao Feng Merchant Guild picked up such a great bargain. A guy came out to criticize Mao Lam. He heard that the author of that book first came to Mao Lam to discuss cooperation but was chased away by him. His decision alone now requires the entire Chamber of Commerce to shoulder it instead. If because of this, the level 1 merchant guild is lost, then the position of president of Mao Lam should also be filled by someone else. Mao Lam was very angry, and when fuel was added to the fire, it immediately broke out. After banging the table, he asked someone to prepare gifts to follow him to visit Dike Feng. In the kitchen of the dojo, Chung Tan sadly looked at the pile of green vegetables in his hand. Didn't the boss say he would wait until he sold the books and then he would have meat to eat? Dike Feng, who was slicing tofu, quickly consoled him when he heard that. He said he was thinking about how to make tofu smell like meat. Dike Feng felt extremely sad in his heart. Since the book had been published, he should have some money at least. Before, when you were so affable, you probably weren't stingier than the Binjang Chamber of Commerce. Could it be that you were ripped off? The piece of tofu was flying in the air when a voice echoed in. It was the butler of the palace, representing the Bao Feng Chamber of Commerce, coming to see Dike Feng. Dike Feng felt that the money was about to come to the village, so he acted noble and taught Chung Tan that cooking is not only based on ingredients but also on ideas. This is the true meaning of being a chef. After speaking, he quickly ran out to greet the housekeeper. The only thing in my mind is the word money. The butler is sweating. Is this blaming you for coming too late? He did not dare to go around and hastily presented the Merchant Guild's special card, which contained 100,000 gold coins in profit from last month's book sales. When Yifeng heard the amount of 100,000, he couldn't help but be stunned. The knife in his hand could not be held firmly and fell to the ground. The smell of money makes people feel extremely excited. The old butler also said that from now on every month, the Chamber of Commerce will distribute the profits to this card on time. Looking at Dyke Fong's expression,